We kind of start there, but then people have to lay their individual lifestyle over that. So I use the analogy of me and my dad a lot. My dad's a complete total homebody. You'll find that dude on a lake, in his garden, or on his couch 95% of the time. So if his house payment was 38% of his net pay, totally and completely fine. I got a really bad travel problem. I like to go places. I'm on a lot of airplanes. My house payment is actually on average I'm full commission, so about 18% of my average net pay, because I like to go and do and play. That's way more important for us as a family. So I do think you have to lay your lifestyle over that, but really thinking about that in the context of, okay, how does this house, how does this payment fit into our life financially, for sure.
One thing I've heard you say to clients and to me is we need to have at least 45-minute conversation with one another, as opposed to log on, click a button, get a quote right there. Is that where you start to unpack, how does my life fit in with this purchase I'm considering making?
Always. Yeah, we always want to have that initial consultation with the client. It's no different than you guys on your side, right? Because, I'm helping people get the largest debt they're probably ever going to have in their life. You're helping them buy the largest thing they're ever going to buy in their life. So really, it is so important that they take that time to have a buyer consultation with you and your team, to have a buyer consultation to me and my team, so they can fully understand how this is going to impact them going forward, both on the buy side and the finance side, for sure.
I know I have a general list of expectations I hope that my clients can walk away from my consultation with. If they have a consultation with Benchmark Mortgage, specifically the Brad Hacker team, what should they expect to walk away from that consultation with?
Yeah, they're going to have a good general idea of how cost actually works. They're going to understand what it is to make a good financial decision when they buy a house, and they're going to be clear on their numbers. I think that's the biggest thing. When people aren't clear on their numbers, they're nervous about their house, right? They're not excited about the house because they're scared the house payment isn't going to be exactly what they thought it was going to be, or their cash to close is going to be more than what they thought it to be. Where we take the time to actually go over that up front, when they get to the fun part, that's getting out with you, getting to see the houses and do all that stuff, they're not nervous about it because they know what they can afford. They have a general idea of what that's going to look like. So they can just be excited about you showing them a house, not worried about, oh my gosh, is this a house I really, really love that I may or may not be able to afford.
Very key point of emphasis. I would so much emphasize on sit down, know the numbers, and then let's go shop. So you can focus on the shopping experience.
Yeah, exactly. Not have to,
how do I make this work after I find something that I think I like?
Yeah, absolutely. So now my turn. Question for you. Obviously, we've seen some numbers come out that somewhere, depending on the market, that roughly about 30% of all home buyers right now are actually paying cash for their property and not getting a mortgage from a guy like me. So a lot of my clients think, hey, can I really compete with somebody who's paying cash out there? So what's your answer to that? If I'm approved benchmark and you're going to show me a house and I'm going, man, I'm worried a cash buyer is going to buy this and I can't get it because I need a mortgage. How do you combat that? What do sellers actually prefer cash buyers? Is that a real thing, or is that a myth?
I would say, making as much of a generalization as I can, everybody's always been told cash is king.
Yeah.
I have to always ask, as a seller's agent, well, what type of cash are you offering me?
Right.
Like, what do you mean it's cash?
Right.
What I think a lot of people make a mistake on, a lot of that cash is not readily liquid available. Write a check, close as soon as title gets done.
Sure.
So if you're offering me that I could close in 7 days, there may be a small consideration to make there, because if I have debt on my property, it's black and white, it's math. If you could save me 3/4 of a mortgage payment, well, what's that worth, right? Average mortgage payments, whatever it is, take 3/4 of it.
Right.
Maybe there's a delta there.
Yeah.
All that being said, you're still most of the time not closing in 7 days.
Right.
Probably closing closer to 14.
Yeah.
Your all's team can turn loans pretty daggone quick.
Close to that, yeah.
So all that to say, if speed is what you thought you were buying, I'm not really that concerned about it. I'll flip it back to something that you guys do a phenomenal job in, your consults.
Yeah.
When you send me a pre-approval, and it's my listing, what do I also get from a buyer that's pre-approved with your team?
You get confidence. You know that if we say they're going to close, they're going to close. It's almost as good as cash.
So in that sense, I think it does fall back on that buyer's agent presenting it in a way with who their pre-approval is through, why they can put as much stock in it as solid.
Yeah.
and presenting it appropriately to the seller's agent, who can then turn around and have that conversation with their client. So to answer the original question, I do not believe it's always true that sellers prefer cash.
Yeah.
We've had instances where people are pulling it from a brokerage account.
Right.
Not all brokerage accounts have withdrawal mechanisms that are equal.